Went in? Did it go in?
Everyone's got Tiger fever, CC.
Yeah, you can always tell when Carolina and Cam are playing well because they're smiling. When he ain't playing well, they ain't doing too much Tiger Woods or nothing else.
No, they're not.
Get hit with a couple 9-9.
Game outfit. Hey, big NFC showdown, Carolina Panthers and the Minnesota Vikings. It was Cam versus Case. Cam won. Panthers with the 31-24 win. Case struggled, giving the ball away 3 times, including 2 interceptions. All right, Nick, might this be the end? And by the way, thank you for your tweet. It was much appreciated. Broke my heart a little bit. Might this be the end of Case Keenum's magical run, or did that leash extend just a little bit over the course of the last few weeks?
To me, this is the end. This is what you were waiting for. Nick. This was the shoe that was the proverbial from the old Roadrunner cartoons, the anvil that's been hanging over your head. This was a game the Vikings lost because they turned the ball over. Period, point blank. Like, I understand people are like, oh, well, the defense allowed 31 points. Well, a lot of that's because of the position you were in, because you were turning the ball over. Now, it could have gone the other way for Case. End of the first half, he had a touchdown dropped. There was another touchdown. It looked like it was caught, and then it was overturned. That was a huge inflection point of the game. But Case didn't recover well from that. And now if you're Minnesota, and this is a key point, your next 3, Cincinnati, Green Bay, Chicago. Those are 3 bad defenses. If you want there to be any chance for you to use Teddy Bridgewater in the playoffs, because here's what you can't do. Roll with Case the rest of the way, and then he has a bad half in the playoffs. It's like, hey, Teddy, you ain't played in 430 days. Get in there and save us. Teddy going to have to play one of these games. And to me, this is what I was worried about with Case. Big game against a really good team, that he makes the mistakes that lose you the game, and that's what happened yesterday.
He didn't make the mistakes that lost the game. The game was actually tied at the end. Cam made one play at the end to get them down to scoring range. He had them in the game. The ball he throws, the digs, the ball's a little high, but the ball hits off his helmet, goes up into the air. You can't predict that that's going to happen from a little high. It wasn't like he threw the ball high across the middle late. He was throwing the ball on the outside part of the field. It's something that just happens. The Vikings didn't play their best game. Did they turn the ball over? Yes, but they haven't been a turnover team. That interception that he threw to Thielen earlier, that didn't hurt him. When they got to the red zone, not getting touchdowns and having to settle for field goals, Thielen dropped one earlier. He had one overruled later on. These type of things prevented them from being able to get the victory. But if you look at it, late in the fourth quarter, the game is tied up.
Yeah.
So Case didn't make a play that made them lose the game.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
So as you watch the game, you have to be fair to the backup, just like you're fair to any other quarterback. If there's any other quarterback that's a starter, has the same stat line, we don't blame the game on him. Do I believe this is the end of the road for Case? No, I believe he starts this weekend. I believe it's still a week to week, but he gets to start this week.
Go ahead, Jim.
I was going to say, we discussed, and maybe it's over-discussing, this idea of a leash that he has, this, like, how long before he gets pulled, how many mistakes does he have to make before they put Teddy Bridgewater in? And I completely understand what you're saying. You don't want Teddy Bridgewater's first game action to be...
It can't be.
It can't be a game that's, as getting you into the playoffs or into wherever you're going to be and end up in the postseason. But at the same time, I would imagine that the last couple of weeks has extended that grace period a little bit for Case Keenum in your eyes, and maybe Mike Zimmer's eyes as well.
I don't think so. He keeps saying it's week to week. So I keep repeating what the coach says. Like, I'm not adding anything to it. The coach said last week it's week to week. I talked to one of the owners. He said it was week to week. So Chris Carter's going to be week to week based on his information.
Well,
from a source that is not my normal source. This is an actual source.
Tell people what your normal source is.
Well, can't tell them that because then
they'll try to use them?
Yes.
All right, hold on. But he's definitely extended it in as much as this. If Case had this game, he had 4 really good games in a row. If he had this performance, his second game of those 4, then maybe he's gone by now. The 4 weeks prior, it would appear, have given him the leash, if you will, of he's allowed to have a bad game and still start the following week, right? Like, you don't think, do you think Case played well yesterday?
No, I didn't think he played well, but he didn't play bad. You're playing against a Carolina team that is a playoff potential Super Bowl team. Those results in those games, they're one play away from winning the game. So, yes, he played well enough for this team to win. Yes, actually, his arm helped bring him back into the game.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I was watching the game. I mean, that's what I thought happened. They didn't run the ball in.
No.
When they actually made comebacks in the game, it was by the air, and Case was the quarterback throwing the ball.
Right, but your point that they were tied at near the end, and that's absolutely true. But is it not fair to say that you mentioned the second interception, the one that
before Cam makes the run at the end, Case played better than Cam?
Absolutely. No, I agree. But the Cam doesn't have Teddy Bridgewater sitting behind him. And Cam doesn't have the hitch. Like, what?
Case played well in this game.
Well,
he didn't play bad.
Okay, all right. Well, then we disagree on that part of it.
So which part was bad? Tell me what Case did that was bad.
The first interception was a terrible throw.
Okay.
Period, point blank. The second interception that I understand it went off the receiver's head, that is an easy throw to the flat. Like, that's a throw that has to be on target. I understand it didn't have to be picked, but I'm not going to blame him for that. That was a fumble. The guy came around the back. I'm not blaming him for that. But the one we're about to show, that's a bad throw, man. That's a throw that you're trying to...
Yeah, it was bad. It hit him in his hands.
CeCe...
It hit him in his hands.
But if he catches it, CeCe, he's tackled immediately.
So what?
Because he had to leave the ground.
Nick, it turned out to be an interception.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What's the receiver's job?
To catch the ball.
Oh, okay. Not to tip the ball up in the air. What do you think caused the interception? Either the throw or the wide receiver tipping it up?
Oh, I think both. If it's an on-target throw and he doesn't have to jump for it, he's not tipping it in the air. What? No, explain to me what I'm missing.
He's a professional wide receiver, Nick. Okay? He knocked the ball in the air. The ball was not that high.
I'm not saying the receiver didn't make a bad play, but was that a good throw?
No, but I guarantee you on this sheet this morning, you know who they gave a minus to? The wide receiver for dropping it.
Oh, well, that's fair. Like the
ball hit him in two hands, above his head, two hands right here.
Okay.
And he dropped it, which came an interception. Now Chase played bad because of that.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just that, but that's fine.
Well,
I mean,
Case Keenum is the guy that's going to stay in for a while. They do have, like you mentioned, Cincinnati, Green Bay, maybe with Aaron Rodgers in Chicago, so it's a little bit of an easier matchup than what he had yesterday. Coming up, a very ugly ending in the Seahawks game will lead to multiple suspensions. Multiple. Next on First Things First.